Mom told me I was dead to her and threw me out, but when she found out I stopped paying the mortgage, she came begging. My reply shattered her. The tomato sauce splattered across my mom's spotless white tablecloth like blood on snow, each drop echoing the explosion that had just gone off during what was supposed to be our calm Sunday dinner. Her hand trembled as she set the ladle down, knuckles bone-white from how tightly she'd been holding it. For a long, suffocating moment, the only sound in that quiet suburban Boston home was the steady tick of the grandfather clock in the hallway, slicing through the silence like a metronome marking the end of everything. "You've been paying our mortgage," my mother, Linda, asked, each word sharp enough to cut glass. Her face flushed an angry shade of crimson, a pulsing vein visible at her temple. "Behind our backs for 5 years. Do you think we're charity cases? Beggars who need your pity?" I'm Emma. I'm 32. I work as a financial consultant in one of Boston's most competitive firms. I'd built my career brick by brick, 70-hour work weeks, no social life, no vacations, no safety net. Yet at that dinner table, staring at her furious face, I didn't feel like a professional woman. I felt like the little girl who got scolded for getting a 97 instead of 100. My dad, Robert, adjusted his glasses nervously, like he always did when things got tense. He looked from her to me but didn't say a word, the same way he'd stayed silent all my life. My brother, Marcus, had escaped this circus years ago when he moved to Seattle. Sometimes I wished I'd done the same. Aunt Helen, who'd unknowingly triggered this whole disaster with a simple comment about that wonderful bank program helping my parents, sat frozen, fork midair. She looked like she wanted to vanish. "I was trying to help," I said, my voice shaking. "You were about to lose the house. I couldn't just watch that happen." "Help," my mother screeched, and even Dad flinched. "You think we need your help? You think your fancy job and your city clothes make you better than us? You waltz in here every weekend like some savior doing charity work." Her words sliced through me. The irony stung. Those fancy clothes came from clearance racks and outlet stores. The so-called city job cost me sleep, friends, and years of my life. The designer purse she always commented on, a fake from a street vendor. But she never knew any of that. She never wanted to know. It all started 5 years ago when Dad lost his job at the plant. 23 years gone in one layoff. He was 57, too young to retire and too old for the kind of tech jobs hiring in our area. Bills piled up, foreclosure warnings came in, and my parents buried them under old newspapers, pretending everything was fine. That's when I started secretly paying their mortgage. I created a fake bank assistance program, complete with forged documents, just to make it believable. For 5 years, $3,000 left my account every month. Every month I sank deeper, giving up dreams of buying my own home, of traveling, of breathing freely, all to protect theirs. "You lied to us," Mom spat, her eyes burning. "You've been manipulating us, trying to control us. Paying our bills so you can hold it over us later, so you can feel superior." "Linda, maybe we should?" Dad tried, but she turned on him like lightning. "Don't you dare defend her. 5 years, Robert. She's been lying for 5 years. You couldn't handle it." The words came out before I could stop them, the dam finally breaking. "Dad lost his job and you refused to change anything. You wouldn't sell the house, wouldn't get a job, wouldn't admit we had a problem. You just pretended everything was fine." The room went still. My mother's face darkened with fury. I thought she might hit me. Instead, her voice dropped to a chilling calm. Get out of my house and don't come back. You're not my daughter anymore. You're dead to me." "Mom, now." I stood up, trembling. Every instinct screamed to apologize, to make peace like I always did. But something inside me, some buried instinct for survival, told me not to. I looked at Dad, silently pleading for him to say something. He didn't. He just stared at his plate, shoulders slumped. "Fine," I said quietly, "but remember this moment. You just kicked out the only person keeping this roof over your head." I left. I didn't even grab my coat. The freezing December air clawed at my skin as I walked to my car, but I barely felt it. I drove away with tears streaming down my face, pulling over twice because I couldn't see through them. When I finally reached my apartment, I sat in the dark for hours. Marcus's texts came one after another. Aunt Helen told me what happened. "You okay? Mom lost it, huh? Please reply. I'm worried." I finally typed, "I'm done." His response came instantly. "Good, it's about time." The next morning, I woke up hollow but certain. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and went straight to my bank account. The auto payment to their mortgage company was scheduled for Monday. My hand hovered over the button, then I canceled it. A pop-up appeared. "Are you sure you want to cancel this recurring payment?" Yes, I'd never been more sure. Then I blocked both my parents' numbers, left the family group chat, and shut my laptop. For once, I wasn't their safety net. Let them handle their own mess. The first week was brutal. The silence felt unnatural, like a missing tooth you couldn't stop touching. I'd built my entire routine around them, the weekly dinners, the guilt trips, the endless calls where mom insulted me, then asked for money. Now it was quiet, and the quiet was both terrifying and freeing. A few days later, my best friend Jessica found me crying at my desk late one night. She came in with Thai takeout and closed the door. "Your aunt called me," she said softly. "Talk to me, Emma. Tell me everything." So I did. I told her about the secret payments, the guilt, the manipulation, the way I'd been trained to believe I was never good enough but still responsible for everyone else's happiness. When I finished, Jessica just shook her head, tears in her eyes. "Emma, that's abuse. Your mom threw you out of a house you paid for. That's not love, that's control." Her words cracked something open in me. I'd always thought I was just being a good daughter, responsible, caring, dependable, but Jessica was right. Somewhere along the line, love had become servitude. "You need therapy," she said firmly. "This isn't just about money. This is years of emotional damage." So I found one, Dr. Martinez. She used words I'd never heard applied to my life: financial abuse, enmeshment, codependency, parentification. "You've been both scapegoat and savior," she said during one session. "You're required to save them but punished for succeeding. That's an impossible role." "But they're my parents," I said. "And," she replied gently, "does that mean they get to drain you dry? Love doesn't erase accountability, Emma." 3 weeks after the fight, I got texts from Dad. "Hey, sweetheart, haven't heard from you. Mom made pot roast, reminded us of when you were little. The Pattersons' dog had puppies, thought you'd like to know, as if nothing had happened, as if she hadn't screamed that I was dead to her." I didn't respond. But a few days later, another text came, more desperate this time. "Emma, there's some kind of issue with the mortgage program. The bank says there's been an error. Can you look into it? It's urgent, sweetheart. Please call me." Sweetheart. The word hit like a slap. After years of silence, now that the money stopped, suddenly I mattered again. But this time I didn't reply. Because the truth is, sometimes the only way to heal from being someone's lifeline is to finally stop saving them. By the 5th week, the messages hadn't stopped. In fact, they multiplied. Every hour my phone would light up with another text, sometimes from Dad's number, sometimes from Mom's. Though I knew better. It was Dad's voice behind both. Linda's pride wouldn't let her beg, not directly. "Emma, please answer. This is serious. The bank says we're no longer approved for the assistance program. They're talking foreclosure. We might lose the house. Your mother's having chest pain from all the stress." Then, for the first time since that dinner, a text came from Linda herself. 2 words: "Fix this." No greeting, no apology. Just an order, like I was still her obedient daughter. The one who used to flinch when she snapped her fingers. Who cried herself to sleep after being told she was a failure. Who spent her life earning a love that was supposed to be freely given. For a second, I almost laughed at the absurdity. The next message was longer, colder. "Your father says you've stopped the payments. This is unacceptable. Whatever tantrum you're having, grow up and fix this." Tantrum, that's what she called it. 5 years of draining my savings, giving up every personal goal, working myself sick, all dismissed as a childish fit of emotion. Dr. Martinez helped me draft a reply I never sent. "I am no longer financially responsible for your household. Please don't contact me unless you're ready to have an honest, accountable conversation about what happened." But I didn't hit send. I was starting to learn that silence could be louder than any message. 6 weeks after that disastrous dinner, my doorbell rang one Thursday evening. Through the peephole, I saw Dad standing in the hallway. He looked smaller somehow, as if the weight of everything had finally pressed the air out of him. His best coat hung awkwardly on his frame, hat clutched in both hands like a man approaching confession. I almost didn't open the door, but something in his eyes made me pause. Defeat, regret, exhaustion. I stepped aside without a word. "Hi, Dad," I said quietly. "Emma," he rasped, voice breaking. "Can I come in?" "Please." He sat carefully on my couch. The same one he'd helped me move in years ago, back when I thought making partner would finally earn Linda's approval. When I still believed success could buy peace. He glanced around my apartment, taking in the minimalist furniture, the bare walls, the lack of luxury. His brow furrowed. "You don't live like someone with money," he murmured. "That's because I don't have any," I said flatly. "It all went to you." His face collapsed, grief carving deep lines where pride used to live. "The house," he whispered. "I know, they're going to take it. I know that too." You've been paying it all this time, he said softly. 3,000 a month for 5 years, I confirmed. Since the layoff. He did the math in his head, voice breaking when he spoke again. That's $180,000. The number sat heavy between us like smoke filling the room. And then, for the first time in my life, my father cried. Not quiet tears, but shaking, raw sobs that came from decades of silence finally cracking open. I'm sorry, Emma, he choked out. I should have stopped her. I should have defended you. All the times she tore you down, compared you to others, I said nothing. I was weak. I failed you. Dad, I said quietly, I can't go back. I can't keep bleeding for this family while she tells me I'm not enough. He nodded, wiping his eyes with trembling hands. I know, but please just help us figure something out. We'll sell the house, downsize. I'll get a job, any job. Just, please, don't give up on us completely. I studied him. This man had spent years pretending not to see what was right in front of him, but he wasn't cruel, just cowardly. And maybe cowardice at this stage could still be undone. 3 conditions, I said, my tone steady. 1, Mom apologizes, a real apology, not I'm sorry you feel that way. She acknowledges what she did and means it. 2, you both admit the truth to everyone. No more fake bank stories. 3, boundaries. I'm your daughter, not your provider. You cross a line again and I'm gone for good. He nodded so fast it almost looked like prayer. Yes. Whatever you need, I promise I'll talk to her. I'll make her understand. You can't make her, I said softly. She has to choose to. When he left, I wasn't sure if I'd just saved us or reopened a wound that would never heal. 4 more weeks passed before Linda agreed to meet. 4 weeks of Dad calling, texting, even showing up at my office once. Security turned him away per my instructions. Apparently, the first 2 weeks, Mom stayed in denial. The 3rd, she raged. The 4th, when the foreclosure notice landed, she finally broke. We met in the house I'd kept afloat for half a decade. It looked tired, sagging like the lie holding it together was finally wearing thin. Linda sat in her usual chair, arms crossed, jaw tight. Dad sat between us, literally and emotionally. The silence stretched until it ached. Finally, she spoke. I overreacted. I said nothing. Dr. Martinez had taught me the strength of silence. I was wrong to say those things, to throw you out. Still, I waited. She hated silence. It forced truth out of people like air from a balloon. I'm sorry, she said, jaw quivering. I was jealous, Emma. You have everything I wanted, a degree, a career, independence. I stayed here in this life and I resented you for escaping it. I made you feel small because I felt small. I'm sorry. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. I pulled out my phone and opened my bank statements, every transfer highlighted in yellow. That's $180,000, I said quietly. While you criticized my job and my choices, I was working weekends to keep this house from being taken. While you called me selfish, I was keeping a roof over your head. While you called me a disappointment, I was saving you from losing everything. Linda went pale. I didn't know, she whispered. You didn't want to know, I said. You wanted to believe in a story that made you comfortable. Because if you faced the truth, you'd have to admit I was the one holding it all together. What do you want from us? She asked, her voice for once fragile. I'm done paying, I said simply, but I'll help you plan your next step. Sell this house, it's too big, too expensive, start over somewhere realistic. Dad, you can work part-time. Mom, you're only 62, you can too, but this house is done. This is our home, she whispered. This was the house I bought with my exhaustion and silence, I corrected. Your home will be wherever you decide to rebuild. Then, for the first time ever, Dad spoke with authority. She's right, Linda, we're selling. Emma's done more than we ever deserved. I won't lose her over a house. Linda looked stunned. In 35 years, I'd never heard him oppose her so firmly. The following months were messy. She resisted every step, clinging to pride like a lifeline. But Dad didn't bend this time. Whenever she started, he'd say, Emma's right, we can't afford this. And eventually, she stopped fighting. They found a modest condo 20 minutes away, 2 bedrooms, a tiny patch of yard, just enough space to live comfortably. The mortgage was half of what it used to be. I helped with the logistics, not the money. I reviewed the paperwork, explained terms, and walked away debt-free for the first time in years. The day they moved, Linda pulled me aside in the empty living room where she'd once screamed that I was dead to her. Sunlight cut across the hardwood, warm and soft. I know I haven't been easy, she said slowly, but I do love you. I just never learned how to show it. My mother was cruel too. I swore I'd be different. I guess I failed. It wasn't enough to erase years of damage, but it was real. I need you to understand, I said. Things won't go back to how they were. If I visit, I need to feel safe, not criticized. Can you handle that? She nodded genuinely. I'll try, I mean it. Marcus flew in from Seattle to help them move. Watching him with them, I saw how healthy boundaries actually looked: kindness with distance, compassion without self-sacrifice. "I can't believe they're actually doing it," he said, watching Dad lift boxes like a man with something to prove. "People can change," I said, unsure if I believed it. "Maybe," he smiled, "but you changed first. You stopped feeding the problem." 6 months later, the dust settled. I visited once a month, always with my own car, always ready to leave if needed. Linda still slipped sometimes, but Dad would catch her. "Boundaries, Linda," he'd say gently, and she'd stop. Miraculously, she'd stop. My life started expanding. I was saving money again, dating someone kind, taking vacations, buying real furniture instead of used stuff. Therapy now focused on me, not just survival. "You seem lighter," Dr. Martinez said in one of our last sessions. "How do you feel about your parents now?" "Free," I said. "Not from them, from needing their approval. From believing love has to be earned with sacrifice." The last Sunday dinner we shared actually felt normal. Mom made pot roast, my favorite. Dad chatted about his part-time job at Home Depot, proud of how much he was learning. "I actually like it," he said. "Helping people, fixing things, the discount's a bonus." "Your father's become quite the handyman," Linda said, almost smiling. "He fixed the faucet last week. YouTube taught him everything." Driving home, I thought about cycles and how hard they are to break, about how love without boundaries isn't love at all. Their new condo was smaller, simpler, but maybe more honest than the house I'd once saved. My phone buzzed, a text from Linda. "Thank you for dinner, drive safe, love you." 3 words I hadn't heard from her in years, simple, uneven, but real. I'd lost the family I spent years trying to fix and found one that, while imperfect, finally felt human. The mortgage payments had ended, but something far more valuable had begun. A fragile, genuine relationship built not on guilt or obligation, but on truth, respect, and limits. For the first time in my life, I wasn't paying to be part of the family. I was simply their daughter on my own terms, and at a cost I could finally afford. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment, hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one.